Hello, everyone, and welcome to another My Music. I'm going to be talking music and stuff today with someone that clearly knows their way around technology because they're surrounded by it. Thanks for joining me, Gnarly. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to this. I'm just suddenly envious of your acoustic paneling on the wall behind you. I need to do that in here. Of course, what I really need to do is gag the children, shut the windows, and stop the dog from existing. But I can't do that. So instead, we're going to play this little video from Analog Trash, and when we come back, we'll talk about how you got into all of this.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
Now, before anybody makes a complaint, I'm not going to hurt the children or the dog or anything else, and it's wonderful that they're here in the house whilst I'm producing all of this stuff. It's just some days it's like trying, especially you must know that if you're in the middle of doing some production on something or whatever, and then suddenly someone walks in, or how do you do that? How do you keep that out?
Normally I just close the door. I only have a cat, so he
Right.
kind of does his own thing most of the time. Occasionally he'll come in and jump on the desk, at which point then I have to try and usher him off. But yeah, I totally get that. Like when my partner comes in and he's like saying about what's for dinner or whatever, and I'm just like in the middle of something, it's quite annoying, isn't it? You get in like that flow state, and then any minor interruption just really throws you off.
Yeah. How did you get into making the kind of music that you do? Because it is quite it's quite tech heavy, etc. So what sort of started you down that route? Were you always into tech? Were you a nerd before you were a musician, or which way round?
Yeah, I think I've definitely always been a bit of a nerd. I tend to get like, I don't know, I like find something that I really enjoy and get really obsessive about it.
Nice.
But I guess like music kind of started when I was little. I like started playing piano when I was 6. So that was my kind of like first intro into music. And then I carried on doing music all through school. So like I did a music GCSE, A level, did a degree in sound arts and design. And the reason I got into production actually was because I used to songwrite and like rap and stuff. And so I would find instrumentals online, and
Yep.
I didn't have a microphone or anything at the time. I used to use a digital camera, like a Sony digital camera, film myself, but not for the video aspect, because kind of like Instagram and TikTok and stuff obviously didn't exist back then. So I would just film it to get the audio. And I would have like headphones in while I was listening to the instrumental. I'd rip the audio from the video in Audacity and like stitch that to the instrumental. And that's kind of like, that's the first little bit of tech that I started using.
You see, you're showing your age with mentioning. Yeah. I think first bit of computer software that I ever edited. Well, no, yeah, because I'm going to tell a lie now, because I was going to say Cool Edit. I don't know whether you ever came across Cool Edit, which kind of came from Audacity. Yeah, you see why I'm older than you. But actually, the first bit of computer software that I ever played with was I had a Yamaha CX5M. Go look that one up. And that was a just before, I think it was just before Yamaha came up with the classic DX7 keyboard. They came up with a combination thing that they did with Mitsubishi, and it was a computer with a cart and a full-size computer keyboard, and it was called a computer keyboard, a music computer, and then a 5-octave keyboard that came with it that plugged into the back of this thing, and it had the worst notation. Sorry, folks, but it had the worst kind of notation software ever with it, because it had this lovely weighted keyboard, but when you tried to then play in to like create notation and save it or whatever, it was like there was a delay, so you had to kind of get the note in and then move the note around or shorten the note or whatever in order to, yeah. But it had some lovely sounds as well. It had some really great sort of synthetic sounds, which you could manipulate. You'd have to change the cart for that and whatever. But yeah, I always enjoyed all of that, and I always enjoyed like things like analog synths and whatever. Alongside sort of digital stuff, have you got into analog kit along the way?
I've tried a little bit, but I think because I started off on software, so I mean, apart from the Audacity thing, we were using Cubase at school.
Right.
And then Logic Pro, and then I'm using Ableton and stuff now, and I used a bit of Pro Tools when I was at uni. But I think I'm so used to just the ease that comes with software, yeah, and just you can like click and point and drag things where you need it to go, and it's very easy to use. That I've kind of struggled a little bit with any kind of analog stuff that I've used.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you're missing out. You really are. I mean, if ever you get an opportunity to go and play with like, some of the old kit where it's literally you sit there for hours just changing patch cables in order to change the sounds, it's great fun. But it is a rabbit hole. It's a massive, I think any kit is a massive rabbit hole to go down. What's before we get really into the music and where that all came from, whatever, but what's your favorite bit of kit now?
I mean, I'd have to say it's the machine. That's like my go-to piece of kit that I use majority of the time.
What is it about that? It just feels comfortable. You just know how to start something with it.
Yeah, I mean, since I started finger drumming, machine, like the MK2 was the first one that I had, and I've got the MK3 and the Plus now, but I just find like the workflow is really good if you want to get a quick idea down, and then the actual feel of the pads for finger drumming and stuff. It's just, I just really like it. Like it's, you could feel really uninspired, get it out, and I could have a finished beat within 20 minutes with it.
What came first is what I want to know. Did you drum first, or did you start the old finger drumming first and then progress to drums?
I started finger drumming first. The drums is like a new thing that I've started doing this year. It's been kind of something that I've wanted to do forever. And then earlier this year, I was just like, I'm just gonna buy a kit and just try it out. And I've been doing like actual drum lessons in person and stuff as well, which has been really fun.
Cool. You got a proper mentor for drums, have you?
Yeah, I've got a teacher. Yeah. Nice.
And so are they teaching you? Are they getting you into different music as part of that?
We've kind of been focusing mainly on technique stuff because I have quite eclectic taste anyway. Like I literally listen to everything. But because I think I have quite a like vast knowledge on music already, and from finger drumming I kind of know a lot of rhythms and stuff, so we've been focusing mainly on like actual technique and getting used to using your four limbs separately and stuff.
Sure. It's quite interesting though, because not that I know a lot about drumming, but I know a lot of drummers. But when you start learning like rudiments and stuff like that, and then speeding them up and slowing them down and like dropping this hand or whatever, it suddenly creates space which you perhaps wouldn't have necessarily known about before. So that may have an impact going forward in terms of your music. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I get like there's already so much. Like I've only been doing lessons for a few months, and there's already so much that I've learned from it. Yeah,
cool. So you started off doing these little bits on the camera. I love that, by the way. I mean, that's great for anyone that's out there that's just buying their kid for Christmas this year a little camera or whatever, you never know. They could end up with a load of equipment like this. How do you get your equipment now? Do you have to buy it all, or have you found ways of monetizing what you do to get some of this?
Majority of my equipment now is actually sent to me from brands and companies. So like I work with a lot of kind of the major brands and stuff. So like Native Instruments, Akai, Roland, and yeah, plenty of others. A lot of the time people just reach out to me to send me gear, and companies that I work with on a regular basis, anytime they have new stuff, I'll usually get sent a product to try.
I love that. I love how you've managed to sort of work that out in the sort of business side of things, etc. So tell me, is there some bit of kit that you haven't got there that you want to get your hands on? In a dream world, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something.
Because you know, if you
really
mention it might happen.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think off the top of my head, just because the last thing that I really, really wanted was an electric drum kit. And actually I ended up buying that for myself. So I feel like I've kind of completed the mission of everything that I wanted to get at the moment.
Yeah. Do you work with other producers, or do you just work with artists, or do you what's the span of who you get involved with?
A majority of the work that I do is actually solo. Occasionally I'll work with producers. This year I actually, the new year, I kind of made a goal where I literally said out loud, I want to collab more this year. I want to work with more artists. And then weirdly, I've ended up doing quite a lot of songwriting camps this year, which I've been invited to by various labels and organizations and stuff, where you get put in like a professional studio with professional artists, and you just get put in a room and they just say make some music. So it's been it was almost kind of like I manifested it. It was really crazy, because previously I hadn't really worked with anyone, and this year I've been able to work with quite a lot of amazing artists and producers.
Do you know what? I don't think I completely believed in manifestation before I started doing this podcast, but over the sort of 400 plus episodes now of doing this, I've had so many conversations with musicians where, you know, they say, oh, I mood boarded that, or I thought about that, and then this happened, etc. I think I've generally changed my tune on that now. So I think it does I think if you set it out as a goal, maybe it's just because, you know, you then align yourself with that trajectory that it then happens.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that in this instance, for example, like I didn't go out of my way to reach out to anyone. Like I would just open my email inbox and there would be a email from someone being like, "Hey, come to this. We'd love you to work with so and so." So that's why I'm like, I was the same as you. I'm not sure that I believed in manifestation before, but I really do think there's been so many instances where I have set a goal and it's just come to fruition, even without me, like intentionally trying to go for it. I think just having that idea in your head and saying it out loud can sometimes just make things happen.
Yeah. When you're producing all of this music, because you know there's a lot of rhythmic bass and you're building things up, layers, etc. Is there been a time where you've gone, this really, or you've been thinking about a vocal line on the top and you felt this is this person's voice? Has there been someone you thought, maybe this really, I'm almost writing this for this person?
Not really, just mainly because most of the stuff that I make is instrumental, and it's only this year that I've started to create music that's more for artists, and I think that's something that I'm still getting used to. So a lot of the time, like if I'm making something for an artist, I like to have the artist in the room, because then it's quite easy to kind of bounce off ideas with each other and know if I'm going in the right direction. I don't really feel confident yet to just like produce and have an artist in mind for a track. I think when I end up producing on my own, it does end up going that instrumental route, because I feel like I just end up writing the melody lines and stuff myself with instruments.
I get that. I get that. Is there a voice out there though that you admire that you think you would love to have a stab at it one day?
Ooh. I mean, it's hard to say. I've not really thought about it, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never you've never like listened to a piece of music by someone and gone, that voice is just so different. If I could get them into a room, I'd always wanted to work with someone like Björk or Peter Gabriel, just because the voice is just so cool.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some artists that I would love to work with, like Little Sims, for example. She's got a really unique voice and style, and I would love to work with her. And there's a singer that I've been listening to recently called Sasha Keeble,
Oh yeah.
who she's really great as well. I've been kind of diving a lot into the R&B world at the moment, which is she's got a great voice. And then Lido, which I think on every single interview that I talk about, he's like one of my favorite producers, and he's got really unique style as well. I'd love to work with him.
I'm writing it down. I have to write it down because of my age, right? But you know, what we do is we try and tag these people in, and you know, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. But that would be cool. What's your great ambition? What haven't you achieved yet musically that you've set yourself as like something I'd really love to achieve?
My main goal at the moment is to get like a sync, like a big sync. I've had a couple of little ones, music on games and Netflix and stuff like that. But I know, like a big blockbuster movie or something, it'd be great to kind of hear my music on one of those.
Is there a particular I was going to say film director, or is there a particular sort of type of film that you would love it to? You know, I mean, you can't be choosy, but at the end of the day, if we're going to go for it, what would it be?
I don't know, just anything really. Just
Really?
something that's like in the cinema. Like it would be cool just to like go to a cinema and like sit down and see a big movie on the big screen and hear my music on it.
I actually sponsored a feature film once.
Oh, what?
Interestingly enough, yeah. And I went to Leicester Square to see it when it came out. We did the whole red carpet bit, and then you see your name on the film at the end. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. So and it's weird as well because I've having never done it before, I didn't realise that they do this whole thing where like the director tends to stand up in front of the film at the end and sort of like thank everybody and talk about the film and whatever, and everybody claps when their name comes up. So it's a great experience. So I'd love that to happen for you. But I guess it's one of those where you almost want it to be a little bit left field, so that it's kind of cool to be associated with a film, but at the same time you want it to be popular enough that you actually get some money from it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah. Not like I don't know, maybe not like a cheesy rom-com or something. Although, I mean,
yeah,
that would. I think
that's the
cool.
point. Isn't it? You do a cheesy rom-com, it could be so it could be so big that that's it. That could be like everybody suddenly knows who you are. But at the same time,
I mean, the one thing that I would love actually is to also get music on a like GTA game. So like whether that was like GTA 6 if it ever comes out, or like online on the radio. I always think it's really cool when you go on the radio. Like I found so much good music from just the radio in the game, and that's like a huge goal for me, is to one day get my music on GTA online radio.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, I've got a house full of gamers here. I'm useless. I get even my 8-year-old completely smashed me at the weekend playing a computer game. But it's a different generation now that a lot of young people find their music by listening to music that's embedded within games. So it's a really cool way of actually discovering music, I think.
Yeah, and the radio stations on there, like there's one that's curated by Flying Lotus,
Mhm.
which is probably my favorite radio station on there. So yeah, all the tracks are really good.
Yeah. Do you like that about the sort of modern world, which is that, music is actually being found in different places? It's not as standard as it used to be, that it's like, it's on, if you're not on TV or you're not on like the official charts or whatever, that was kind of it. You couldn't be discovered. You've got to do all of these other ways of being found now. But in a way, that's quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think obviously it's great in the sense that you can find so much more new music now, and as an artist as well, you're able to get discovered in so many different places. But I do think also sometimes, like especially with viral TikTok songs, it gets a bit oversaturated, and the fact that there's so much available all the time, like it gets a little bit overwhelming. It's like
Yeah.
growing up for me, it was like you would get a Now CD and that's what you'd listen to on repeat, or you'd save up and maybe get like one new CD a month or whatever, or I'd listen to all my sister's tapes and CDs that she would get. I would nick them like whenever I got an opportunity and make a little mix CD, and you just listen to that stuff on repeat, like whatever was on TV or on radio. And I feel like maybe the quality of what you were listening to then was not better, but like, things were made to be hits back then, whereas now
Yeah.
it's kind of just a lot of everything and anything, which can
I
be a
think-
little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, it's trust me, for anybody my age, it's really disconcerting, because you think that the reason that you can't remember any lyrics to any song that comes out these days is because you're getting old and you're losing your marbles. But probably the reason you can't remember the lyrics to any song that comes out these days is because it moves on so damn quickly. Whereas,
So quickly, yeah.
back in the day, you saved all of your pocket money, you went out, you bought that album, it was incredibly precious to you. You then played it to death.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I had albums that I had on tape that I then had on CD, I had on vinyl, and I absolutely knackered all of them. And you just played it and played it and played it and played it. And so, of course, you give me one of those albums, I'll still know every single word to every single song now, right?
Yeah.
But now, a song will come along, and then the next songs come along, and then the next songs come along, and it's so quick. It's just like, it's difficult. I think you're competing for people's attention so much these days, and it's it's almost so disposable and so quick.
Yeah, and I think also, like, especially with viral songs, is like it might be popular for a week and then the next week it's something new. Whereas, and like also you're bombarded with that track, right? Like every other video that you scroll online is going to be that song. You go into a store, that's all they're playing. Even the radio, like they only play viral TikTok songs now. So you're kind of like, you're almost like force fed that song so much for a week, and then that's why you kind of get sick of it. Whereas before, like, even though you'd repeat a CD that you were listening to, you'd only get to listen to that in your spare time. Like we weren't chronically online, like on our phones all the time before. So now it's like you're constantly being exposed to something, and then you kind of get sick of it a lot quicker, I think.
I think so. Well, let's hope people don't get sick of your music. I'm sure they won't, because it's it's innovative, and you keep changing it up, which is the best thing you can possibly do. What do we expect to see coming out from you in the near future?
So I've got a couple more of my one takes volumes that are going to be dropping. I've got one out in 2 weeks, which will be volume 6, and then next month volume 7 is coming out as well. And then a bunch of tracks that I've been working on with artists during these various songwriting camps. Hopefully they should be coming out. I don't know when, but soon, hopefully.
Cool. That's brilliant. Listen, what I was going to say is, what can people do for you?
I guess follow me on social media. You can always keep up with what I'm doing on there. So on Instagram or YouTube or whatever you're using.
What I wanted to say is thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for having a chat with me. It's been a long time coming. So thank you for doing that. We wish you all the best in the future. If we add one track to the MyMusic Podcast playlist, what would that be from what would you like me to add?
My latest single, which is Still Hope.
We will do that. We will make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful Gnarly. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm completely envious of your studio, your kit. I'd be like a boy in a toy shop coming around.
Thanks so much for having me.
To play all that stuff. Please do check out the music. If you've enjoyed this conversation, folks, please do support by sharing it with your friends and family. If you haven't enjoyed it, then sorry about wasting 27 minutes of your time. You can get it back. All you need to do is get a prescription from your doctor, and that can be rectified at some point in the near future. We'll be back with more My Musics very soon. Until then, bye.